Hello, everybody, and welcome to Athletic Definition. My name is Coach Ray Z, and today my guest is Ricky Rack, an instructor from the Valente brothers. Welcome to Fireside and welcome to the show.
Hi, Ray. How are you? So good to hear you, to see you once again, and thank you very much for this amazing invite. I'm truly honored and humbled to be a part of this amazing podcast, especially you being a renowned athlete yourself and a renowned coach. So for me, this is an amazing event. So thank you very much for having me.
Well, I really appreciate that, and especially the kind words. Um, uh, I have so many questions, but I always like to get started from the beginning. Um, and I know right now you live in Honduras. So you were born in Honduras?
Yes, that's correct. Born and raised here in Honduras, in the capital city of Tegucigalpa.
Okay. Oh, wow. And just reading your bio, I know you became a lawyer, but before you became a lawyer, as a kid, uh, were you very active? Did you play a lot of sports? Is it, what's the big sport over there in Honduras growing up?
Well, our sport here is soccer, football. We call it football, but in the states they refer to it as soccer. So that's basically the sport that we have in our veins, that we grow up watching since we're little kids. Rivalries between clubs. We don't even need a court. We just need two rocks or two sticks, couple of guys, a soccer ball, and then just game on. So that's what I grew up playing throughout all my childhood. And I was fortunate enough to learn a couple of other sports. Like I learned to swim from a very early age. I learned to play tennis and basketball and just all sorts of sports. To be fair, I lived in a university campus because my parents both worked for a university. So I was basically living in a country club, that they have everything there: swimming pools, soccer courts, tennis courts, basketball courts, volleyball, beach volleyball. So I was really blessed because I had access to all the facilities that were in the university. So I was really fortunate, actually.
Oh, I see. That's how you got the access to all the diversity of sports, and that's very cool though. I mean, did it at any time did you want to become like a pro soccer player? I think all of us as kids want to become some sort of professional athlete.
Yes, actually, I did. I wanted to become a professional soccer player, and actually, my father, when I was in starting, I think it was junior high, my father talked to me and told me, "You really want to be a professional soccer player? Because if you want to be a professional soccer player, I'm gonna back you up 100%. But you can't start preparing when you're 18. You have to start preparing right now that you're 14. That means you gotta quit school, you gotta start training, you gotta start going to soccer camps, you gotta start really putting in the work." When he said that he was going to take me out of school, I, like a bucket of cold water just came over me, and I wasn't brave enough to walk away from my education to follow my soccer dreams. I just didn't think it was worth it. But he was right. If I started to train until I was 18 or 19, that's too late, you know? So I stayed in school, and after I graduated, I tried to pursue a career in soccer. Unfortunately, I couldn't get very far. Um, I didn't make like the Division 1 teams, not even the Division 2 teams. I was like the reserve of the reserve, but I was in the game a little bit. I played, and I was very fortunate to get a little taste of how it was to play semi-professional football.
That's very cool. It's just good experience, any sort of a competition, and the bigger level, the audience, the nerves you have to deal with. Those are all great experiences, especially as you get to look back. I'm so interested in when did jujitsu arrive to Honduras, and then when did you start doing it? Like at what age?
Well, I started doing jiu-jitsu when I was my first class. I received my first class. I was 28, 29, almost 29 years old. I really can't say when jiu-jitsu first arrived in Honduras, but I can say that Valente Brothers Jiu-Jitsu arrived in Honduras around 2006, 2007, which is when our lead instructor, like actually Jean Paul Lloyd, he's our lead instructor of the study group here in Honduras. He is a Valente Brothers student from like a lot of years. He went to study to Miami, to university. While he was studying the university there, he found the Valente brothers and he became a student of the Valente brothers. Once he finished his studies and he finished his things in the United States in Miami, he returned home here to Honduras. And the only way he found out that he could continue practicing is to give classes. And that was basically the birth of the study group here in Honduras back in 2007, 2008, basically.
Wow, that's so interesting. So now, just kind of fast forwarding a little bit, is there more than one location now in Honduras?
Yes, there are different branches from different jiu-jitsu lineages that have come to Honduras. I think there's kind of like five, maybe six, uh, all around the main cities in Honduras, and we are one of the those jiu-jitsu lineages that represent jiu-jitsu here in Honduras. But proudly, we are the Valente brothers, so we try to do things always how our masters have shown us to do things.
Yes, I think I heard Pedro Valente speak, and he was just like a encyclopedia of history. And I asked him, I think, a question about, like I heard jujitsu evolved from some guy in Japan watching snowfall fall from a tree, and he was actually able to give me an answer, and no one else has been able to even like give me some sort of insightful response. And I was like, wow, really impressed. And then I kind of started listening a little bit about the code that you guys have, and I'm just like, um, how I I need to know, I guess, where did they originate? Because almost like jiu-jitsu is not that big of a sport yet. I think it really started growing because of UFC, and because of UFC, everyone knows Gracie's, and if you're somewhat into jiu-jitsu, you probably know a few more names, like the Machados, and but the Valente brothers, at least in the West Coast, I haven't really heard them over here. So if you could give a little background of them, that'd be great.
Okay, so the Valente brothers have been students of our Grandmaster Elia Gracie since they were 2 years old, basically. So they have always been under the tutelage of our Grandmaster Elia Gracie. Grandmaster Pedro Valente, who is their father, is also a Grandmaster in the Gracie Jiu Jitsu ways. He and Grandmaster Elio Gracie were very close friends, and they shared the same philosophies of life, the same philosophies of working hard, no cutting corners, always staying true to yourself, staying true to what is right, to what is correct, to what has to be done, to being brave, basically to follow the code that we follow now. So since they were little, they've always been true to Grandmaster's vision of what jiu-jitsu should be, which is always trying to be a better person, trying to help the person in need, whether they'll be weak or older or in a disadvantage. Always try to help the person in need. So it's a philosophy of life. The Valente brothers, based, and I'm speaking here freely, in the sense that I don't intend to put words in their mouth or nothing of the sort. This is coming from me personally, how I see things with the Valente brothers, in the sense that they stayed true to what Grandmaster Elio wanted, which is self-defense. That at the time wasn't as popular as what the UFC, like you mentioned, that jiu-jitsu started to get popular until the UFC came out. So in order to make it interesting and to be a little bit more easy to market, they tended to go more towards a sport, a controlled environment with rules, with weight classes, with things that are illegal and not legal. So basically, a structure, and that's okay. That doesn't mean it's wrong. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's a jujitsu. It's amazing no matter in which way you apply it, as long you're always applying it to do good and to help people, not to hurt anyone. So if you do that, There's no wrong way to do jiu-jitsu, in my point of view. And I think that's what the Valente brothers focused on, because that's what I think Grandmaster Elio Gracie focused on also.
Wow. Now, I that's very interesting because a lot of people say that maybe jujitsu kind of lost some of the traditional martial arts discipline. Um, that you see, I don't know. It was kind of just, and this is my opinion. Just because I know friends that own a bunch of karate studios and different types of martial arts, and some of them focus more on discipline, on being a good person than others, and I've heard some people, kind of give a knock to jiu-jitsu as a sport because they're saying they don't focus on that enough. But I really just depend. I think it depends on the school you go to and your instructors.
Yes, that actually has a lot to do with it, but it also depends what you're looking for. For instance, if I'm looking for and I'm actually craving a, a watermelon juice, I'm not gonna go to a brewery to look for watermelon juice. I'm gonna go to a place where they serve watermelon juice. So if you're looking to do jujitsu only as a sport and you don't really want to sink yourself or dedicate time to developing a philosophy of life and trying to become a better person using jiu-jitsu to enhance yourself and enhance other people around you, that's okay. It doesn't matter, So if you're looking for that, I'm sure there are gyms that can give you what you're looking for. But if you're looking for watermelon juice, don't go to the brewery. So if you really want to look for a school that focuses on philosophy and being a good person and helping other people, trust me, you are going to find a school like that. And you're going to like absorb their culture and you're going to be one of them because you share the same vision.
And okay, so you gave us a little background on when jiu-jitsu made it to Honduras. Now, when did you find it? Was it during high school, during junior high?
Actually, I was starting. Actually, I was just finishing my master's degree, and I had been a Greco-Roman wrestler or Olympic wrestler, like we call it here, lucha olímpica, Olympic wrestling, which is Greco-Roman wrestling. And one of my best friends, who became actually my instructor afterwards, told me, Ricky, I know you like this kind of stuff. You have to try Gracie Jiu Jitsu. You have to try it. So I said, no, I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff. I was skeptic, like most people at the beginning when they are offered to go to a Jiu Jitsu class. Because he did not only speak about the physical aspect, but he specifically mentioned the Valente brothers Jiu Jitsu. I mean, he really made a point to set it apart. He immediately started talking to me about the philosophy and how the philosophy works with what you do with your body on the mat. And that was what really caught my attention. That was what really, okay, okay. I hadn't seen it this way. Okay, I'll give it a try. His name is Leonardo Valenzuela, and he's the head instructor of the study group in Santiago, Chile. So
Oh,
I want to
wow.
say a big hello to him. Yeah, he was the first person. He was the person who took me to my first class. And after he became an instructor, he was, just with me all the time. He was giving me private classes. He was training me on Sundays, on Saturdays, no, on holidays. I would call him up. He would work, and he was also working for a corporation here, and he would work like long hours. He was tired, and I would call him up and say, "Man, can we go train?" And he would never say no, never. And he was the one who actually made me fall in love with jiu-jitsu, per se. Then he got an opportunity to go get his master's degree in Santiago, Chile. So when he left to get his master's degree, there was this void here. And that's when I started to see how I could continue practicing jiu-jitsu. So I spoke to my lead instructor, who is Jean-Paul Lloyd, and I asked him, what can I do? What can I do? I don't want to stop. So he gave me permission to review the classes that I already knew. Because every single class, I jotted down the class. I took notes. I was a very applied student. So he told me, you can't teach any classes because you're not an instructor, but you can review the classes that you already know. So that's the only thing you can do. By this time, I was already a four-stripe white belt, so I knew a little bit of techniques, not many, but enough to keep me entertained and hey, it was an opportunity to really sharpen the skills on the moves I did know already. So I took it and I started to review the moves that I already knew with a couple of friends, fellow students, and I fell in love with the art of sharing knowledge and just basically quote unquote teaching. And that's when I just said, no, I don't want to do the corporate thing anymore. I really love to teach. And I spoke to my lead instructor, Jean Paul, and I asked him if he thought that I could be an instructor based on what he saw and based on what the Valente brothers stood for. He backed me up. I went to Miami. This was back in 20. This was not long ago. This is 2018, 2017. This is a couple of years ago that I quit my corporate world and decided to dedicate myself to jiu-jitsu. So I went to Valente Brothers. I met with my masters. I paid attention. I worked hard. I took the courses, and luckily they thought I was worthy enough to become as an instructor, a Valente Brothers instructor, and to represent them here in Honduras under the tutelage, of course, of our lead instructor, Jean Paul Lloyd. So that's how I got into jiu-jitsu, and that's how I got into teaching. It's crazy, how that worked out.
Oh, it is, and I want to talk a little bit more about you walking away from being a corporate lawyer because that's huge. But before that, you mentioned something interesting that we don't, or I've gone to many different gyms, different academies. I've never heard of anyone really taking notes. Do you do that during class? You do that after, or
After class,
okay?
after class, what I can remember after class, every single thing. And when I see that class again in the cycle of our lessons, if my master or my professor says something slightly different, it goes, I take notes on my notes. And then when I see that class again, I take notes on my notes that I already have. So it's a learning process. Every single time I see a move, I try to learn something from it. For example, not like 2 days ago, I was giving a private class to one of our students, a women's class, and I found out something about the UPA. And I started Jiu Jitsu 12 years ago. And 2 days ago, I found something about the UPA that makes it easier. It's not like I changed the game. No, it just makes it easier. It makes it more efficient. And especially when you're teaching women, you have to emphasize on the efficiency of the moves. So as I teach them, they help me learn also. So it doesn't matter how many times I've seen a move, I'm always open to the idea that I can learn something new. 12 years, Ray, 12 years. And I learned something new about the UPA 2 days ago. 12 years.
Well,
And I was,
I think I have like 5 or 6 years, and I've never even heard of an UPA. Is that like a Uma Plata?
an UPA is something you use to escape a mount control. Somebody is mounted over you, you
Mm,
bridge, you try to get them out of equilibrium so you can escape or roll over.
got it.
So it's
Yeah,
something,
yeah, I'm sure. I wonder. I know the words kind of change a little bit here and there,
yes.
uh, but
So
that's interesting.
yeah, so basically, it's when somebody's on your mount, you do a bridge, they fall forward, and you take advantage of their momentum to roll over and then take the top position.
Okay, now let's go back to what made you decide to be a lawyer, and not just a lawyer. It was like a corporate lawyer, and then you had a minor in
In
like
arbitration and
litigation.
conciliation,
Yeah, I'm like,
yes,
wow.
trying to
Uh,
avoid conflict always. Well, it's kind of a long story, but I'm gonna really sum it up for you. When I first graduated from high school, it was back in 1999. It's a long time ago. So Honduras was hit with a hurricane called Huracan Mitch, which really devastated the whole country. So when I enrolled in college, all the first year students had to go do public service. And one of the public services that we had to go do was to go into the communities that were most affected by the hurricane and help with the cleanup crew. Just help clean up the neighborhood. That's it. One of those times that we went, a lawyer came with us in the brigade. And since these were very like poor sections of the country, Many people didn't have paperwork for their land. The paperwork, the deeds for their land. So this lawyer met with every single person that she could to help them get the deeds to their houses for free during this time of need. That inspired me to try and help people. That inspired me. She, as a lawyer, is doing this. She's a notary and lawyer. She's doing this for free, helping people get their everything like in the books, so their houses can be under their names, have their deeds, so that they don't lose it. That for me was amazing. This really amazing, especially when lawyers have a reputation of being really greedy people. That really opened my eyes. So that that gesture of kindness that this lawyer did really got me interested in studying law because I wanted to help people. And at the beginning, that's how it was. But it's kind of difficult. Sometimes the law says something and it's not really justice, but like somebody's starving, they steal something to eat. You can understand why they did it, but the law says you have to apply, the the correct what would be the word? Um,
Punishment,
sentence or punishment.
sentence.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yes. So that's the part of law I didn't like so much. Then I was fortunate enough to be drafted, if you would say, into the corporate world, and leading less. I didn't have to like deal with people so much, more paperwork and contracts, and just deep in my computer and just working 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and I loved it. I loved it really. I really did like it. But after a while, after 8 years of doing it, and I'm super grateful. Don't get me wrong. I learned so much. I met so many amazing lawyers, knowledgeable, super smart. But during all this time, I was also doing jujitsu. And this is the funny thing: doing jujitsu made me a better person. I know it did. As a better person, by definition, I became a better lawyer. So I was actually a better professional at my job because I was doing jujitsu, because of the code that I was following: rectitude, having benevolence, having courage to do the right thing. So it made me a better lawyer. It made me stay in line. It avoided, doing corrupt and immoral decisions, because people handed, they threw money at you to help them with a case. They went behind people's backs. They said, "Look, lawyer, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, but you got to help me in this case." And so my code helped me stay true. And that's when I decided to leave, I didn't owe anybody anything. People didn't want me to quit. Uh, People wanted me to continue lawyering, but I just didn't want to. I fell in love with giving jiu-jitsu classes because all this happened when I was reviewing the classes that I already knew, like I said before, Ray. So once that happened, I just never turned back, and I left the corporate world and, you know, just roll with the punches.
Now, wow. Okay, so I understand why you left. I worked for a bank, a huge bank in the United States, maybe worldwide, for like 10 years. I was in treasury management, but I was unhappy, really unhappy. So I walked away. But how did your parents feel? Because, you know, just, it's so hard as, well, you're not a minority in your own country, but over here, you know, people of color, it's like it's so hard just to get to a certain level, and then you reach that what society would consider a doctor, a lawyer, and then you tell your mom and dad or wife, girlfriend at the time, whatever, hey, I'm gonna stop being a lawyer so I could teach jujitsu. How did that go? Across to your family and friends and whoever you may have been with at the time.
Well, they were all very supportive because really they had no choice, in the sense that I think I paid my dues, in the sense that I've done everything or tried to do everything according to what my family has always wanted. This was actually the first thing I was doing for myself. So I've I've been complacent. I don't know if I'm saying the right
Compliant.
word. I've always complied with everything they've asked for, with the sense,
Mhm.
maybe you should study this. Okay, I'll try. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. So their suggestions were always like soft. orders, maybe you should try and do this job, maybe you should. I did that. So everywhere, everything my parents always thought it would be good for me, I tried, because actually it was good for me. It just wasn't my thing. So little by little, I found my stuff. I found what I like, and I tried to make a living of the things that I liked. It's like a fairy tale, right? Not everybody gets to live or make a living of things they like. So I paid my dues. I worked jobs that I did not like at all before I became a corporate lawyer, like really, really like hard jobs, physical jobs. But I was lucky to have a job. That's how I see it always. I was lucky to have a job. I was lucky to work. The unemployment rate in my country is amazing, and I started having a job straight out of high school. Starting my college. I worked at a radio station. I was a DJ, and that led me to other jobs, working as a animator in clubs. DJ FM was the name of the radio station. Was one of the few radio stations that was bilingual, both English and Spanish. One person heard me saying something in the radio in English. They cast me for a translation job. I got the translation job, translating scripts. So one thing has always led to another, and I've never stopped working, and that's because of my parents, tenacity to like work beats everything. In the university that I was raised, basically they have this saying in Latin that goes "labor omnia vincit," which means that work conquers all. And that's something that I grew up with hearing all my life. My father graduated from the university. My brother graduated from the university. My cousins, my uncles, my godparents. So my whole family is graduated from that university. So everything I heard, everything was always work, study, academics. You have to be the best, and I'm not the best, but I truly try. I strive for it, and that has been my life. So I'm not afraid of work. I'm not afraid of hard work. I started my life over when I was 38. Uh, I was married. Unfortunately, we were having certain problems that could not allow us to be together right now. But quitting my job, having the economic problems that led with that, contributed. I'm not saying that caused it, but it contributed. There's decisions that I have to live with, but at the end, I'm doing what I love. How many 41-year-olds can say that they do what they love every single day? I'm on the mat minimum 4 hours a day, every day, Ray. Minimum. Sometimes I give 8 classes. Sometimes I'm 8 hours a day in the mat, and I love it. Right now, I'm sitting in front of you. It's 7:30 at night here, and I'm sitting in front of you with my kimono, with my gi. I love this. This is my life. So how many 41-year-olds that are not millionaires can say that they're doing what they really want to do? I'm one of them. And I'm not in it for the money. Yes, I want to make money off of this, but I'm just happy giving classes. I'm just happy sharing with people on the mats and giving classes to kids. And when you explain a move to them and they're like, I don't get it. Okay, we're going to do it right now. And we do it on the mat. And then you see their faces lit up like I just did. That's what keeps me full. That's what keeps me going. I love that. And I've gone through hardships. We all have. We all need to make money. We all need to pay the bills. We all have debts. COVID really played a number on all of us. So yes, but I'm optimistic. I'm happy. I get to do jiu-jitsu every day, Ray. Imagine you get to do something every day and they pay you for it. That's amazing. So I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed. Physically, I've never been as healthy as I am right now. So jiu-jitsu has given me so much, and not only jiu-jitsu, but I've also done CrossFit. I've also done other things. My lead instructor, Jean Paul Lloyd, is also my lead trainer. He has a gym here. It's called Ere Wellness. You can check it out at Ere Wellness. I don't know if you've seen my post. I always tag them at Ere
Okay.
Wellness. So he's transformed me. He's made me a healthier person, and that all revolves around jujitsu. He's my lead instructor. He doesn't only want me to be good on the mat. He wants me to be the best version of myself always. That includes my health. That includes being healthy, eating right, exercising, making sure my body's moving correctly. And there's so many more things that I need to learn from him that I haven't had the chance to. Just as there are so many things I need to learn from my masters in Miami, trying to go to Miami and learn from them. I'm always learning, Ray. always learning. I'm never, thinking that I know this. I'm just gonna, quickly go through this. No, always, Ray. I'm always willing to see that, that surprise look that I want to make, that look that my kids make when they get something. I want to do that still today, 12 years after I started. I still want to get that feeling.
I love your passion for jujitsu and just for viewing the honesty of you get to do what you love, which a lot of people, even millionaires and billionaires, may not even be happy with what they do. I know I've met quite a few rich people, and I'm also glad you mentioned that it's not easy. Following your passion, it could be difficult, and some people may not come along for the ride, and that's understandable. For me personally, after working for the bank for 10 years, I'm like, I just wasn't happy, you know, and I've been working out this whole time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to start like giving back and teaching people and kind of who want to learn. And then COVID happened, and I'm like, oh, I can't leave now. I'm stuck. I'm stuck at my job. My plans are ruined, and I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm gonna make less money. I'm gonna give up like a month's of vacation. I'm going to give
Nice.
up weekends off. I'm going to make way less money, and I got a job at UFC gym. And then the first day I go into work, I get laid off for the second wave of COVID. And I'm like, oh, what should I do? Should I go back to a job that I wasn't happy, go find another job that I'm unhappy, or just really pursue my dreams? Is everything perfect? No. Uh, am I happy? Yes. Is my mental health better? Yes. And sometimes in life, you have to make the decisions of what you want and what's more important to you in the long run. And the other thing I want to mention is your English is excellent. So how did you learn English at such a young age in Honduras? Is there and even now is it a big like English speaking population over there now?
Yeah, actually, it has gotten bigger. I think it. I learned English because my parents. I was fortunate enough to go to one of the. I think this, and I'm being biased here, obviously, because I'm an alumni. But I think the best school in Honduras is the American School of Tegucigalpa. So after my father graduated from the university that I lived in, he got a scholarship to go get his master's degree at Miami, actually. But my father is from Peru, so he's from South America, so he doesn't speak very much English, or didn't used to speak very much. So when he went to the United States, he had a lot of trouble with English, so he didn't want his kids to have problems with English. So he enrolled my brother and myself at kindergarten. I started classes there when I was 3 years old, so everything was English all the time, 24/7. Everything. I make a joke with my friends that I tell them that even Spanish was in English. So I
So
was fortunate enough. Yeah.
right now the classes you teach, are they in Spanish or English?
I have a couple of students that are English speaking citizens, they are from Canada or are from the United States. And I have a couple of children also that are from the States and they are living here because their parents work either in the embassy or with a mission. So I have a lot of students that only speak English, and I give classes in both Spanish and English.
Now here in the United States, if you go to a franchise gym like UFC, it's more affordable for the average person. Uh, and even then, it could be tough. I don't think it's really possible if you make minimum wage, and then the more I would say like more just straight jiu-jitsu, more competition style studios, academies. They are more expensive, and um, not that they're not worth the money, but depending on price, maybe the sport would grow more. How is it in Honduras for the average person to learn jujitsu?
Well, we have the prices that I base or that we base our classes on basically are at the same range with what the gyms of the area are. because you pay a monthly fee. Okay, so you pay a monthly fee. Obviously, going to lift weights is much different than coming to jiu-jitsu. But when they come, like for instance, we give always an introductory class. First class is always free, so they can get a sense of what we are about what Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, about what Valente Brothers Jiu-Jitsu is, under the lineage of Grandmaster Elio Gracie. So after they get a sense of that, we speak a little bit of not only what we try to do with the art, but our philosophy. And people really like that. The same thing that my friend, one of my best friends, the lead instructor of the study group in Santiago, Chile, Leonardo, he did that. He opened my eyes to something bigger than just what we do in the mat. And that is really what makes you a better person. People are with me 1 hour on the mat, Ray. Only 1 hour. I don't want you to be the best person you can be for only 1 hour. I want you to be the best person you can be the whole day, if it's possible. So when you leave my mat, I want you to continue being that excellent person you were when you were with me. And that's what the philosophy does. And that's what I try to explain to the people that come to the academy. And some fall in love with the philosophy and the way that we teach. Some are not looking for watermelon juice. Some go to the brewery. So if they don't stay, no problem. They have other choices here in Tegucigalpa that they can explore. And basically, everybody tends to go where they find what they want. So some people stay with us. Some people go someplace else. Some people return after they leave because they understand the difference when it comes just to go to a place and where nobody really wants to know your name, or just work out. I don't want to have be friends. Not here is different. We're brothers. We're all brothers. We're the Valente brothers. When we put on this kimono and we're on the mats, we're all the same. We're all the same. So that's what we teach. That's what we do. It's about family, and I truly believe that. And my family has helped me through the pandemic. People stuck with me. I like 80% of our students couldn't continue with online classes because they really wasn't their thing. So a very few number of students continue to pay their monthly duties with the academy during the pandemic while receiving Zoom classes. Not everybody does that. They're a family. They help the academy throughout the whole pandemic. So right now that the things are starting to come alive, and I'm giving, classes, physically classes, people are coming to the academy. I return that gesture to them. So it's not about the money,
Mm.
because I could be charging them for like private classes, private sessions, because it's one on one. But I'm not charging them because I am truly grateful for all the time that they continue to pay their monthly fees and not coming to a physical like class. So it's not about the money, it's about family. And I truly believe that. And that's what the Valente brothers have really given me. That's what my lead instructor gave me, Jean Paul. That's what Leonardo, the instructor from Santiago, Chile, gave me. A sense of family, a sense of caring for you. I want you to learn, Ray. If you get better, I get better. You know, like the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. And so, yeah, why not? Surf that tide. Everybody, let's go. And that's what I explain to them, and that's what they fall in love with. It's not only on the mat; it's what you do outside the mat.
I definitely want to talk more about the philosophy, but yeah, you mentioned the gym closing, and that happened everywhere. And I think I saw it in the jiu-jitsu communities, maybe jiu-jitsu times, just talking about if you can afford it, and you have that luxury, take care of your studio so it'll be there when this is over. But of course, if you lost your job, it's understandable as well that you're not going to be able to take care of your academy, even though you really want to, because COVID just shut down so many academies and businesses. Uh, but the Valente Brothers Code, I definitely want to talk about that because, as I mentioned, I think right now, especially with the way society is going, I would like to see maybe martial arts put into school so that they could learn the discipline and respect. If you do any sort of martial arts, I feel that you're less likely to go and try and be a bully. because you'll realize it doesn't really matter. I know I've done boxing and kickboxing and Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu, and always the guy that I thought couldn't fight is a guy that just brought it to me.
Yes.
Um, and most people don't know that. So I did want to, hear more about the code and what it means and the philosophy of a Valente brother.
Well, the Valente brothers developed the 753 code. It's something that has existed for many years now, but they did it in a way that is easier for somebody like myself to understand and to follow the code. So, actually, see, I have the book right here. So you can, when you go visit the Valente brothers in Miami, I'm sure they're gonna have this available, so you can have it, you can buy it. So basically, the philosophy has three aspects: seven, which is a reference to our spiritual side; the five is a reference to our physical side; and the three is a reference to our mental side. Seven are seven pillars of our spiritual side, which are: the most important one and the first one of all is rectitude. We always have to do what is right. That is something we always have to strive for, doing what is right. Even if you academically don't know what right and wrong is, somebody can feel right from wrong. Animals feel right from wrong. A human being, even if he's illiterate, can feel right from wrong. So everybody has that capacity, I believe. So always do what's right. Courage. You got to have courage. You got to have courage to follow your values. You have to have courage to do what's right. You have to have moral courage. You have to have physical courage. If somebody's in trouble, you have to go help them if you can without putting yourself in trouble. You have to have also physical courage. You have to be benevolent. Put yourself in other people's shoes. You know, always know that it happened to you, it could be happening to them also. Try to always keep that in mind. Respect. Always have respect for other people. If you always respect people, there's a less chance to have a misunderstanding. And if there's a less chance for a misunderstanding, there's a less chance that you're going to get into a fight or some kind of conflict. So, respect is basically something that is going to help you avoid all sorts of conflicts, whether it be physical, verbal, a fight with your friend, with a loved one, significant other. Just always have the respect, and you're always going to be able to advance together with that person. Honesty, just be honest. That's a no brainer. But it takes courage to be honest. Did you steal this, Ray? If you steal this, you're going to go to jail. You have to be honest. Yeah, Judge, I stole it. I'm sorry. Not many people are going to do that. Not many people are going to have the courage to be honest when their freedom or something that they care about is on the line. But you have to be honest. Honor. Always have honor. Trying to inspire people. Have honor. I do the things that I do out there because I teach my students to do them. If I'm doing all sorts of stuff and teaching my students to do something else, I'm being a hypocrite. That's not honorable. So basically, I keep on a straight line, so I am not a hypocrite when I tell my kids, don't steal, don't lie, respect the rules, respect the laws. But then I grab my car and I'm driving the wrong way, or don't don't stop at a full stop or run a red light. I'm being a hypocrite. So no, always have honor. And the last one, but not least important, loyalty. You have to be loyal. A sense of loyalty is very important. So those are the seven spiritual ones. Then we have the body: exercise, nutrition, rest, hygiene, very important. Even before COVID, it was very important. Hygiene and positivity. Always have a positive attitude towards everything. And then the mind, have to be aware, be in the now, have balance, emotional balance, and always be on the flow. Flow with what is happening to you. Don't get so mixed up or attached to things that you want to keep that happened in the past, or things that are keeping you from moving forward. Flow with it, go with it, don't fight it, go with the flow. And so this is I there's so much to talk about this, but there are so many people that are more qualified than me, Ray, to talk about the code. So I really don't even want to get into this right now, and I apologize because I truly believe that this should be spoken by my masters or by a black belt in the Valente brothers community, because they know this code in a way that I still am trying to learn. So I humbly apologize if I don't get like really deep into this, but I'm still a student and I do not want to say things that I might misinterpret. So, but I'm sure any of my masters or any of the black belts from Valente Brothers, I know, Christine, she's in the clubhouse. So she's a person that is more than perfect to explain and to talk more about the code. So please, I apologize for that.
Oh no, no problem. I completely respect what you're saying, but just kind of thank you for going over that because there's a lot of people that haven't heard of that code, and that's kind of just sometimes it's just about planting the seed and everything that was said. I mean, who could disagree with like pretty much everything you said, like being honest, and a lot of things you said is difficult, especially when you know you're wrong to say you know whatever it may be. Yes, I stole this, or yes, I cheated, or yes, I drank, or whatever you shouldn't do, just to be able to admit it. And when the consequence is even higher, that's when it's more difficult to be honest as well. um, so I mean, I completely really enjoyed just what I know of the code, and I'll look into the book. Are the Valente brothers just in Miami right now, or are and you mentioned your instructor in Chile, so are they kind of starting to spread around, or?
My masters are in Miami, but they sometimes go to different parts of the United States, where they have affiliates or study groups to give, excuse me, seminars and classes, right? So we have a couple of study groups and a couple of academies outside the United States, but the main and most important one is headquarters in North Miami Beach. That's where my masters are, and that's where it's what I call it, a higher learning place of jiu-jitsu. It's a place where it's higher learning jiu-jitsu. It's amazing. So if you're really really looking to go to a Valente Brothers uh, academy, go to headquarters. Just go to the source. That would be the best. Yeah.
All right. And um, I also wanted to ask, are you teaching online, or you just only teach in person, or how does that work for you?
A couple of months ago, I stopped teaching online because a couple of students that I was teaching online decided to start attending personally, like physically, to the classes. Once everybody started getting their vaccines, and we still protect ourselves. We take all the biosecurity measures. We do everything by the book, no cutting corners. So once they started to realize that we were in open space, because I do it outside, so we're in open space, no close walls, a lot of breeze is always blowing through the academy. And they realize it's a safe place where they can exercise jiu-jitsu, always following the measures, and we have fun. Actually, we do heavy workouts. I mean, we really sweat even though we're outside, and our sparring sessions are amazing. Being outside, and just being able to see the clouds, and somebody's like in your side control, and you're trying to, apparently a bird just flies by, you start seeing the bird instead of trying to protect your position. So it's fun. It's fun, and we try to make the best of it, always.
And I was watching the history of the Gracie's belt system by, I can't remember which Valente brother, on YouTube earlier, and I know it doesn't really matter, but you've been practicing a long time. I don't think most people realize how long it takes to get a black belt. Uh, Most people can become a corporate lawyer or a doctor uh, before they get their black belt. Most people I know, it's taken them like 14 years, 15 years. Um, so, like I said, I know it's not important. It is and it isn't, I guess, depending on who you talk to. I had been doing it for so long, and it took me so long to earn my blue belt. And now that I have my blue belt and I haven't really been able to train too much since COVID, it doesn't really matter to me. I just was tired of going up to random people and having to tell them I'm a white belt, not having to tell them what they ask, oh, I'm a white belt. Even though they know nothing about jujitsu, white belt to them equals novice. So now when I say blue belt, they still have no clue what that means. They have no clue if that's like one step away from a black belt or anything. But to them, it's, oh, you know what you're doing. Now all of a sudden I'm knowledgeable and I'm not a novice.
But
Uh,
do they the people who are asking you this, do they practice jiu-jitsu?
Usually no.
Okay,
Usually
so
no.
when they tell you, when you tell them I'm a white belt, and they go like that, you tell them, okay, what belt are you? And you're still wearing your normal belt to hold up your pants, man. So
They don't.
that's
They don't get
that's
that concept.
yeah, the most important promotion, and I'm gonna be a little bit cheesy here with the jiu-jitsu quotes, but they're cheesy because they're true, Ray. The best and biggest promotion you're ever gonna have is when you put on your white belt from your dress belt. That's the most important promotion. You already did that. How many other people in the world haven't even done that yet? So you're a blue belt. Excellent. Continue this journey and try to follow that thought. That the belt doesn't really matter, and it's true. And it's sometimes it's difficult. We all have egos. I try to keep my ego in check, but sometimes, like Jiminy Cricket, it pops up here and goes, "Yeah, Ricky,
Hmm.
you have to do this and this and this." So you have to control the ego. So that's perfect. And I just want to share. Can I share a little story with you about the
Of
belt?
course.
Here in Honduras, in the study group, we do not yet have a black belt professor. So we are not able to give belt promotions. Whenever one of our students wants to be promoted, once they have achieved a certain level, they have to go to an academy where a black belt professor teaches. Only they have the authority to bestow upon the jiu-jitsu student a new belt if, in fact, he has earned it. So when I started to practice jiu-jitsu, I really couldn't afford to go to the United States as much as I wanted to. So I was a white belt for 6 years because I couldn't go to an academy where a black belt professor was to see if I had what it took to become a blue belt. Many people told me, because there were other academies at that time here in Honduras, and told me, man, just go to another academy. They're gonna give you your belt like that. Because 6 years of learning from the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in Honduras, even if you're a white belt, you're gonna learn. And I learned from Leonardo, and I learned from my lead instructor, Jean Paul. They gave me classes, and they didn't care I was a white belt. They taught me like everyone else. We had white belts, blue belts, purple belts taking the same class, like always, like they do in headquarters of Valente Brothers. I learned, Ray. I could have easily gone to another school just for the belt, but there are not Valente Brothers. I wasn't interested. I was there for what I was getting, not for the recognition. I didn't care about the belt. Really, I got to that point. 6 years as a white belt. My knowledge wasn't of a white belt. At least I don't think it was. You know, um, I was truly humble when I was sparring. I felt that I could keep up with the higher belts. I still, remained humble because I was still a white belt. I knew my place, but I didn't think of myself as a white belt, and I didn't care about the white belt. When that time came for me to visit an academy, they gave me the blue belt, and I wasn't even expecting it. So that for me was one of the best things. And then the first time I went to headquarters, wow, that just really solidified my passion for what I wanted to do. Meeting my masters, Professor Pedro, Guy, and Joaquim. I mean, I was like kind of starstruck. That's not very, very 753 code of me, because my emotions were really like, I wasn't keeping my balance. I wasn't keeping my balance. I have to admit that. But I was really excited. And so it really doesn't matter about the belt. Just practice what you know already, Ray. If you can't go to the gym, just practice what you know already. I fear he who practices one kick 1,000 times than he who practices 1,000 kicks one time. So go over the things you already know. Drill them, go over and over and over, just do that. Just exhaust every single angle that you can dissect that move. So you know that move so well that you can start moving on to other things once you start going back to the gym. Just because you're not in the gym, you doesn't mean you can't train. Try to do everything as more efficient in your house. When you clean or do the dishes, when you mop or you sweep, try to do things more efficiently. That's jujitsu. you know when you cut the grass or have to do something, some work, whatever, just, and you've done it before, but try to see if there's a more efficient way you can do it. That's jiu-jitsu. It's not only what we do on the mat, it's not only self-defense, it's not only trying to prevent an arm lock, an arm bar, or a choke. No, it's being better, it's being the best version of ourselves always, doing things more efficiently, doing things a lot better, using our heads, how can we make this better always. That's it. That's how I see it, and that's what I did when I only had permission to review the moves I knew. That's what I did. I reviewed, and pardon my French, the hell out of those moves, man. I reviewed them like crazy, and I'm still learning. So, just keep that mentality, Ray. It's not about the belt; it's about the knowledge. And if you continue to surround yourself with people who have that knowledge, like I've been blessed with my lead instructor John Paul, with my masters, the Valente brothers, with the Leo. I've been blessed with people who know more than I know. So I've been learning always. And as long as you keep doing that too, my brother, you don't need to go to, like, physically go to a gym to do it. But eventually you're going to go back and you're going to be amazing. So don't worry about that. Just keep that mentality, and you're going to be super great, man. Believe me, you are.
Thank you for that. And man, I definitely want to check out Valenta Brothers Academy. Just from everything I've heard, and not just from you, but from all of them speaking, also eloquent and with passion. And we definitely need more of that in this world, and part of the beauty of jujitsu is I don't think most people realize it. Like, whatever sport you want to train, you don't get to train with the best of the best of the world. Like, you don't get to go play basketball with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James or anything like that.
True.
Uh, you don't get to go play football with Tom Brady or Antonio Brown or anything like that. And in baseball, you don't get to go like just hit the ball from like some good pitcher. But in jiu-jitsu, you can walk into an academy and kind of like how you mentioned, like, oh wow, like if you don't know jiu-jitsu, they're an average person. But if you know jiu-jitsu, you're like, wow, that's so and so. Or there's like 10 black belts, and not because there's black belts and then there's black belts. Like, there's
Yes.
levels to it. And then
Yes.
you're like, oh, in the nicest way, they're like, they're all killers in there, and you're just blessed to learn from them because they're the nicest people you've ever met. But um, you don't. That's like something you get to do in jiu-jitsu that I don't think most people know, and it's nothing that I've got to do in any other sport at all, where such high level people at all. It,
It's
it's
true.
it's it's a it's a beautiful thing, and who knows in years to come if it'll even be like that.
It's so true, so true. I mean, jujitsu connects people from all over the world. Look, I'm here with you right now, Ray. I don't know how many people from your fans even know where Honduras is. Or even know if that Honduras has jujitsu to offer them. So this, jujitsu is connecting people, and we've been on other apps that I'm not gonna mention here, of course, but we've connected with other people that do jiu-jitsu from all over the world, and they're amazing people, and I have plans, sometimes, I have a trip to California or a trip to Washington. I have friends now that I have made through jiu-jitsu that I can, go visit. So, like you said, jiu-jitsu makes everything just so much better, I think. And Grandmaster Elio, I think, said that the world would be a much better place if everybody did jiu-jitsu. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's one of his quotes.
And Ricky, I also want to give you the opportunity to maybe you just teach in Honduras, but do you have like a website or anything you want to promote, or your your gyms, anything like that? Any contact
Thank you.
information?
Thank you. Well, basically, everybody should contact Valente Brothers. Headquarters is at Valente Brothers in Facebook as in Instagram. So you should definitely check out my master's websites, check out their facilities. If you have ever an opportunity to go to North Miami Beach and you are a true lover of Jiu Jitsu, go visit them. You are going to be awed and so amazed with how they are, how they teach. The positive energy inside the academy is just so infectious. I mean, you walk out of there and you're still like if you're in a Segway, you know, you don't even you're just floating. You're just floating with the energy. So please do that. And I also want to thank my lead instructor Jean Paul Lloyd, because not only is he my lead instructor here in Honduras Self Defense, which is our study group, but he's also the owner of RA Wellness, which is the CrossFit gym that helped transform my physical, is like not only me physically, but as health. Not, I don't mean I don't have like big biceps or no, I mean health wise. He helped me transform me into a better and healthier person. So check also at RA Wellness or RA Well Space, because they give classes online for people all around the world. So it's nothing better to surround yourself with people who make you a better person. You know, Valente Brothers for me, and RA Wellness. You know, just surround yourself with people that make you better, that teach you, not only give you a fish, but teach you how to fish. So when the pandemic comes along and you can't go with them, you have the right tools to continue your positive work no matter where you are. So, and I thank you so much for letting me mention them, Ray. Thank you so much for letting me mention them, because they are really important to me, because they are the ones who have been responsible for me being, I mean, the best version of myself, despite of everything that has happened. I am super happy. I am super blessed, and I am so thankful and grateful to be here with you and to be able to share my story with everybody. So thank you, seriously, thank you, Ray.
I'm humbled to have you, Ricky, and I really appreciate you being here. To everyone listening in on the fortune cookie, I went ahead and put the Valente Brothers website. So it's a hyperlink. You can click on it and take a look at their academy as well. On the replay, you'll be able to see it as well. And then everyone listening in the future, when it turns into podcast, you can just go straight to the website as well. And this is kind of the beginning of my podcast. I'm bringing in a bunch of different types of athletes from everything, so that people don't have an excuse not to work out. Like, well, maybe jujitsu isn't for you, but you can work out. You could work on that health, and that's what I'm trying to do. And then as people keep coming on, we don't have to keep talking about the same thing. Next time we come you come on, we can talk about more things, because we kind of got this out of the way. So I always would love to have you back. You've been a great guest, and I really appreciate you being here. And it was good to just kind of get to know a little bit more about you. So thank you so much, and thank you for everyone joining in and listening worldwide. This has been Athletic Definition with Coach Ray Z and my guest Ricky Rack. Thank you, everybody.